Good morning. It's me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned in Tarot. And it is super early, and my hair looks wacky. But I'm a Leo, so that's what we do. We don't brush our hair, and it's fine. We just expect everybody to love us anyway. Well, you do, because you're here with me this morning. This is where we look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine aspects of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want our shit to change, we have to change our shit. That's pretty much the lesson that I teach every day here on Tuna Tarot. We are doing the release and rebuild spread today, which is an interesting one because it really emphasizes how when we are thinking about ourselves or another person, we are a flow of energy of masculine and feminine energy. And there's like the feminine side of self that releases and the masculine side of self that rebuilds. And so I designed the spread. One side's called the Empress and the other side is called the Emperor. And I made it actually during a time when it was really clear that the feminine energy needed to take her focus off of the masculine energy. And so I did a week of the divine feminine readings only, and then realized that I needed to follow that up with a week of the divine masculine readings in order to balance it. And so I designed these two spreads, and then I realized I had a really great, very deep way of going into a release and rebuilding process. So this works for everyday life, but if you've experienced a breakup recently or a relocation or leaving a job, or someone has passed in your life and you're working on the things that you need to release in order to move on, this is a really effective spread. If you would like to schedule your own personal release and rebuild, since this is a collective one, you can go to pearlsprayers.com, click the booking link, and there's plenty of options, but there is an actual release and rebuild option there. There is also an obstacles removed, which I do on Wednesdays, and a divine check-in, which I do on Mondays. There's also custom reading if you don't feel that any of those things fit your situation. And if you need help choosing, you can always send me an email. There is a contact form to fill out. We're going to be updating that page, so keep checking it because there's going to be a lot more stuff easier to find than it is at the moment. All right, let us dig into the divine feminine side on the Empress spread, where we look at head and heart at the same time. We are using the Star Spinner Tarot, and here is the Three of Swords in the headspace, and the Astara Tarot that I just got, which I am so in love with, in the heart space. And this is the Eight of Cups in reverse. So let's take it one at a time here. But first, the actual position that we're looking at is the general energy surrounding what divine feminine needs to release. And I've got a couple storylines popping up. The first one is there are some that have just entered into a separation recently. It can be very recent or like within the last month or two, but there's some that have completely ended the situation and completely walked away from a partner of some kind, or a job or an opportunity, or there's something that has been lost that they have walked away from. That's one arc. The other arc is there are some of us who don't want to walk away, and the being stuck is breaking our heart. It's causing us a lot of heartache because we really don't want to leave this thing behind. So you could be in one of those two camps. I'm in a recent release, the recently released camp, like just being like, okay, bro, smell you later. But I was definitely in the other camp for a while. So I think there's just two timelines going here in the collective. But that's the general energy surrounding what we need to release. We'll get to what we need to release in just a moment, but first we're going to look at the hidden assistance, which I used the bottom of the deck to determine. This is the stuff that's going on that might not seem like it's helpful, but it actually is. The first card that's coming up Strength in reverse, red to filth already this morning, and the Ace of Cups upright. So in the headspace, the thing that is really our hidden assistance, but that we think holds us back, we think that this has been the thing that has caused us to not be able to experience the manifestations that we're trying to receive. But this has actually been something that has helped us. And this for the feminine is her reactivity, which stems from her ego. And there are benefits to the disruptions that it has caused. For instance, we were dealing with it's 6:33 on the clock right now. We were dealing with the ego quite a lot last week. And it was coming up a lot for the feminine side. It was what was keeping her, honestly, from kind of being able to communicate with masculine, even though she was telling herself the only reason that masculine wasn't, or the only reason that she was upset is because masculine wasn't communicating. But divine feminine was contributing to the situation by also not being willing to communicate until the masculine communicated, this not budging thing. Now, this has actually been a hidden assistance because it has forced you're not being able to control someone, which is this beastly side of self, also even needing to control someone. That has actually helped you to do what you needed to do, which is to focus on your self-love and develop your connections with your family and your friends, and to actually experience joy without the thing that your ego desired. Because your ego desired this a lot, but now you're actually experiencing joy. So this is a really beautiful energy here. Like, this is why the ego, while it is really important to release the ego's attachments, the ego's desires show us our authentic self. They show us parts of our authentic self. They lead us in the direction where we need to go, but they will take us off the path with the fear and concern that develop there from the ego. The other thing I should mention when we're doing these readings and we're doing the feminine side, the Empress side, this is not just if you identify strongly as a feminine energy, but also the feminine energy that is expressed in your person. So your person is a balance, just like you are. And when you get feminine messages, you're getting also information about that person's feelings, how they navigate their emotions. If they are your twin or a soulmate, it's going to have they're going to have a lot of intersections with you in your energy. So just keep that in mind as I continue through the reading here. And don't tune out the feminine message just because you're here just to hear what the masculine has to say. This is part of your person's energy too. Okay. This is the actual experience. What past experience do I need to release? No shit. The Six of Cups upright in the headspace, and the Five of Pentacles in reverse in the heart space. I keep getting the Five of Pentacles, and I keep getting it in its reversal, and it is interesting. If it showed up Five of Pentacles like this, I would be like, oh, divine feminine, she needs to release this feeling of lack of affection, lack of love, and stuff that's coming from the past energy, from the reunion, from the Six of Cups, from the past, from her nostalgia, from her memories, past relationships. But it came out in its reverse. And when it's in its reverse, usually I'm feeling, oh, we're releasing this lack mentality. We're no longer being kept in the cold. We're able to go into this warm sanctuary now. So why would this be a thing to release? I'll tell you why. Because you were escaping into the sanctuary of this past relationship. You have a tendency to break your heart by staying in this safety zone that is this past relationship you are trying to rebirth. So rather than face the cold on your own, alone, you wanted to stay nestled warmly in this past relationship. And that is what's causing the heartache. This is where the general energy is coming from. This is breaking your heart. So for those of you who walked away completely, you now need to release the feeling of safety that you got from the way that you thought about relationships in the past and from this particular person that you've had to walk away from. In order for you to move to the next level, to receive new love, right? You will have to fully release this past experience. It can't be your safety net anymore. You can't be like, oh, well, this is just going to work out, because that's keeping you from moving on. For those of you that have left somebody completely, or for who haven't moved on yet, the reason why you're not moving on is because you're staying in that safe place. The memories of the person that and for some it's future memories of their potential too, and you're just kind of lingering there. So you need to release that. Okay, the next position is, what can I do right now to soothe myself? This is the 8 of Wands in reverse. Why is it completely white, camera? Question of the day. And also, I guess I should hold it up like this, but it doesn't really matter because it's, oh my God. There we go. And the freaking page of this deck. I think this is the Page of Cups. I feel like it is. It's so interesting. It's got those clevers, and he's doing a little, like a shadow puppet for this pack of wolves. This is a really interesting image. Let me look at the Ostara Tarot, because this one is a newer one for me. It is the Page of Cups. Okay, I'm just, when that happens, I'm going to read you what it says, because what it says is so profound. So it came out in its reversal. Okay, first, before I read it to you, I will just say that this is what will soothe you. This communication was in reverse. So I think the not communicating right now with your person or about the situation, like not talking about it a lot because of this reversal on this Page of Cups, which when it's reversed says, your inner child likely has too much control. Bursts of temper or sadness may have caught up to you. You should be in touch with your feelings, but they should not control you. You may be frustrated by various creative endeavors or by the unpredictable events in your life. Return to reality and find calm solutions. So this is telling me that at this time, something that is going to soothe you is if you do not try to communicate, because you're going through a lot of emotions that and kind of fluctuating a lot as you're navigating the pain of taking a close look at how we kind of hurt ourselves in our behavior. It's very easy to start to feel feelings of resentment or anger and say things that we regret and perpetuate this cycle's endings. Okay, So to soothe yourself right now, you really just want to stop communicating about the situation. Stop talking about it. Yesterday's card was watch your words. Now this doesn't mean you stop communicating with a therapist or a spiritual counselor, or when you're really in grief and you need to communicate with your friends about your grief. It's not like that. But it's like when you're having a general conversation, when somebody's asking you, oh, how are you? You don't have to hide that you don't feel good, but you want to just not feed a lot of emotion into the communications, because it's going to start to get the ball rolling. So if you go to work and somebody's like, how are you? And you want to be authentic, you can say, honestly, I'm going through it right now, but I'm going to be okay. I had a recent separation or breakup, and it's best if I don't talk about it. Hi. I usually don't do questions because this reading almost always ends up being 2 hours or so, but I do live questions on TikTok, and I probably will be doing them later today. I would guess sometime in the afternoon, and so I'm going to say 6-ish hours from now. And I also, on Sunday on Instagram, we do card pulls for people with gray strikeouts. So you get 2 readers for the price of 1, which is completely free. So if you want to ask questions that day too, you're more than welcome. But thanks for being here. And sometimes your questions get answered just through the reading itself because you were called here. So, and if you need personal readings, go to pearlsprayers.com, and there's a booking tab and you can see all the services there. Thank you for asking. All right, so here we go. We just need to communicate in ways that are just a lot more general so that we're not feeding the emotional outbursts that kind of keep us stuck in this place where we're focusing on this lack, this that we had to let something go, or going into the safety of those old feelings, because it's not just the safety of your person. It's the safety of the old feelings, the devil, you're used to feeling uncomfortable, right? And so you go back to the safety of your discomfort. It's familiar, so it's safe, but it's really not. It's holding you back. And that's why we're working to release this right now. Okay, so what can I do right now? No, that's not true. What can I expect to encounter as I make space for new energy? Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. We are getting in the headspace this 5 of Pentacles again. So we have 2 decks right now, and both of them have given us the 5 of Pentacles. And they've given us the reflective energy of the 5 of Pentacles, like this, right? So this is both upright, and this is as if you're looking in a mirror. So we're seeing that we're releasing the sanctuary, okay? And then it says, what do I have to look forward to? And you're like, oh, you have the 5 of Pentacles to look forward to. And the Page of Wands in reverse, that's kind of bleak. But, what you have to look forward to is this broken mirror here that's not reflecting back to you the spark that you felt for that person or that thing. It was never meant to be because it couldn't reflect your own energy back to you. So what you're making space for is the healing of this inner child in the time that you're going to be in this separation. Now, it doesn't sound good to us for me to say, what you have to look forward to is separation. And you're like, bitch, what the fuck? Why are you smiling at me? You're a psycho. And I feel you, but I'm serious. The old ideas of lack mentality are going to be able to be worked through during this time of separation, because the feelings that you have right now, they don't just come from this recent event, this shocking tower moment. They come from this little inner child who already experienced this deep wound in the past. And all that you're receiving right now is this information on the wounds you need to heal. This experience is reflected back to you. The spark that you feel for this person that has kept you stuck on them and unable to be in any other relationships, that is going to dissipate as you heal the wound, because the only reason that you've been clinging to that spark or that pull or the feeling, it's not just because this person is your twin flame, although they can be, but it doesn't matter. It's because they are safe. And poverty consciousness only feels safe because you haven't expanded into abundance consciousness quite enough yet. So that's why you're experiencing the separation right now. And that's the only reason for the separation. And now you're going to be healing this. You'll be able to come into a union that is fully reflective, no longer a broken mirror, but a completely cleared, healed energy coming back to you from the next person. So it's actually a really beautiful thing and requires gratitude, even if it's painful. Thank you. Can I have another? What behaviors have gotten in my way? Justice in reverse and the Three of Cups upright. Just looking at this a little more closely. So focusing on third parties has gotten in our way. Things being unfair. If there was another marriage that we had in the past, that unfair union, could have been a controlling dynamic, that felt safe, that felt comfortable. So that's really gotten in our way. Imbalanced within ourselves, we aren't able to offer this union outside of self either. So that imbalance that we have has also just become an issue for us. And this feeling that it's so unfair, that this union is so perfect, and yet it will not happen. That feeling we have, that's also getting in our way. Because like I told you, what you have to look forward to, what you're making space for, what you can encounter, is dealing with this energy. And that's a gift, that's a blessing. So getting rid of this feeling of it's not fair. It's like, but it is fair. Karma is always fair. And also getting into karmic attachments has gotten in your way. So when you choose people you know are wrong for you, you know it deeply. There's a bunch of places that don't align. You're like, oh, it's fine. We'll just work that out. No. You're just trying to learn how to really get to your authentic self, what you really need in a person, what you really need in yourself. So this behavior has gotten in your way. What can I do now to avoid this? The Chariot in reverse and the Two of Swords upright. Very interesting. The Chariot in reverse is about surrendering the reins to a higher power because our ego has gotten things out of control. Now we know that that's our hidden assistance. So this moment where we're now facing really needing to surrender because of the chaos, that's where this Two of Swords is coming in. The Two of Swords is when we don't want to make a decision because we are really scared of the outcome. It's like this person could get hurt, or I could get hurt, or someone else is going to get hurt, something like that. And so rather than make a decision, we sort of just go within, we close our eyes, we go within, and we just don't make any moves. So what will help you right now, instead of focusing on the injustice of this union not coming together, or this potential for there to be some kind of a karmic situation or third party situation, or whatever this is, surrender whatever you're feeling here. Whatever this has to do for you for third party, surrender that. You are if you try to control this, you're going to experience just pure chaos. And this is not in your hands. There is always justice, right? There's always justice. Karma always is served. And the divine takes care of it, not you, right? In the chariot energy, not you, the divine. So just, if you think, oh, this is unfair, just surrender that feeling. Just be like, you know what? No, it's not. I know that it is absolutely fair. There is a reason I am being protected from an experience, or the other person, it's not in the other person's highest good. Let me ask you this. If you found out that for you to come into union would be the worst possible thing that could happen to your masculine right now, or your feminine energy right now, if you found out, if you were like, oh, I want us to come into union, and then someone was like, you can come into union, but karmically, if they get to have you right now, they will have to have something terrible happen, like cancer, or die in a car accident, or just like not have a good quality of life anymore because of, some bad thing that's going to happen to them. Would you be like, oh, I don't care about that, I'm just going to be with them anyway? Pretty sure you wouldn't. I'm pretty sure you would be like, oh my God, if I get together with them, it's going to kill them. You would probably be like, oh, that's so terrible, but I can never be with that person because I never want them to be killed. I want them to be happy. I want them to be alive, right? You love them, so you want them to be alive, okay? So can you trust the divine that if you said, I love this person and I want to be with this person and let me love this person, I want to be allowed to love this person, and then the universe is like, okay, well, for you to love this person, you can't be with them right now. Because if you go into union with them, they're going to be dependent on you. They're not going to learn any of the lessons that I need to teach them so that they can be their best version of self. And they've asked me to be the best version of self, and you've asked me for the best version of them. So if you go with them right now, it's not going to work. You have to trust that this standstill that you're in is for your greater good. And if you don't feel like you care about that, then you don't understand the journey. Because the journey is not about you. I love you, but it's not about you, even a little bit. It is about God, your whatever you call that, the spirit that animates us, the realization that that exists, that it is real, that it flows through you, and then your role in spreading that love to the rest of the world. Nowhere in that formula is there any place for your ego. Your ego just gets to come along for the ride, right? It just gets to come along on the fun journey and help lead the way along the things that you want to do in this world. But it's not about you. It never was. And if you think it is, you will get stuck for quite a long time learning this very hard lesson. And it will feel unfair because you'll be like, but I'm doing all these things. And the universe will be like, but all these things are for you. And while I love you and you deserve everything and you are blessed and you are wonderful, so is every other being. Equally. Every being. From a flower or the lettuce that the vegan person is killing and eating, to my puppy, to the serial killer that is on TV making us really scared to go to bed at night. Every single person, being on the planet is worthy, important, and special, and unique. And once you embrace that, which you're not meant to embrace quite yet, that was your hidden assistance, then this doesn't feel so bad anymore. It truly doesn't, because you're like, you know what? It's not about me. And I feel so much happier knowing that. because I still get all the things I want, love, and enjoy, but I get it because I know it's not about me. It's like the reward you get for figuring it out. So that is what's going to help you with this unfair stuff. You're going to be like, no, this is completely fair. This is for the highest good. And if I think it's not, I better pray and get inspired to see what I can do to make this about being in the highest good. Okay, now this is what is growing within me or this connection as I move on. Oh my God. It is the Four of Wands, which is the freaking sacred union. This is what's growing within you. This is the marriage. This is celebration, happiness. This is that solid foundation, healthy foundation in relationships. And it is the twin flame card. The Page of Swords and the Ace of Swords. This is the truth and the courage to wield it. And it is having new ideas, new perspectives, new thoughts, new beliefs about sacred union, about what it means, about how to achieve it. And the old paradigms that you needed to release, right? This focus on the safety of the past, the comfort of the familiar, that shit is dead and gone. Wow. This reading today is incredible. And if you had trouble understanding how that was both the feminine and the masculine's release, hit me up in my email and I will try to help explain how that is your person and you together. And you have to find the intersections of that. Okay, now we're going to rebuild. So we've worked on the release process. I'm doing a lot of hand gestures today. We're going to take it over here. Anyway, we're going to rebuild with the energy of the Emperor. So the feminine energy really helps us with the release process, okay? She is, because of her ability to tune into her emotions, to feel her feelings, and to allow tears and emotional release, the feminine helps us to do the work on this side. Now, the masculine is going to help us rebuild. The masculine uses the analytical, logical, that's debatable, but uses the headspace to put aside some of the emotional things, right? Because one of the things that was going to be difficult for the feminine was the emotional outbursts, okay? The masculine has that ability to detach from that and focus more on how to rebuild now, because we need that action energy. One of my sister is going through something, and she said that her work was the thing, and she's a Capricorn rising, so not surprising, but she said that her work, she was so grateful for it because it distracted her to give her a time like to breathe during the day while she's not going through her Venus and Pisces emotions, right? So that masculine, feminine balance there. So the masculine now is needing to rebuild from this heartbreak. This could be the separation as somebody walked away. So in the storyline that we've got going from this collective, we have the feminine energy has recently released the masculine and walked away, or is really not wanting to do that or something. But here's what I think. I think the feminine was like, peace out, because that is where I'm resonating. And the masculine was like, don't go. And that is where his heartbreak is. So both of them had to release this general energy here. And both of them have the same process on the feminine side. That's why this is also about your person, okay? So now we have to rebuild. So now what do? Okay, the general energy surrounding what needs to be rebuilt is pretty significant. We have the Eight of Cups upright in the headspace from the Wild Unknown Tarot, and in the heart space we have the King of Wands in reverse. So we have to rebuild from this place of inaction. Okay. Those of us that were unwilling to leave, right? They did not take action to keep the union together. Those of us that were willing to leave, they did not take action toward their person. They took action away from their person. So the King of Wands energy has been in its shadow. This is also issues with the ego, which we saw was our hidden assistance over here. So we know that even though there's dealing with the ego, that it's actually helping us right now to figure out how to love ourselves and how to have good connections with our families, etc. And so we've got these toxic cups that we're leaving behind. So this has here this representation of this really huge obstacle. And one of the reasons that this masculine hasn't wanted to take any action, even though there's nothing left here for him to enjoy, is because he's so overwhelmed by this huge mountain. It feels like a massive obstacle to try to rebuild something that has been completely destroyed. So the masculine is needing strength, right, to rebuild. And the feminine is not feeling overly strong about the connection because of her ego. Do you see how all these pieces come together? Welcome, Munchkin Raver 82. I love the typo. So yes, this is what masculine is needing to rebuild now. Here is the hidden assistance. The Tower in the headspace and the Hanged Man in the reverse in the heart space. So the Tower is funny. Everybody's scared of the Tower. And now we're like, how is that the hidden assistance? But it's the perfect card to be in the hidden assistance place. Because what hidden assistance means, it's the bottom of the deck that I use to get this position. And the way that I view this position is the thing that doesn't feel so good, that you think is a shitty thing, but it's really helping you. Because once you know that, it puts you into this position where Divine Feminine needs to be in order to soothe herself, which is trust in the divine detour, right? This detour is actually making this better for you, right? Trust and believe in that. So divine masculines, oh, I see, I can call you Kat, love that. Divine masculines hidden assistance is the actual destruction. It is divine feminine being like, peace out, bitch. That is the thing he needed to happen to keep him from being in this dead man's pose here, being devoured by these piranha in this hanged man where he's just suspending himself, trying to achieve perspective. Bitch has enough perspective. And the divine was like, I'm going in. Okay? I don't know what this fool is doing, but this fool keeps asking me for something and I keep sending them. He was like, save me. And I sent him the lifeboat and I sent him the team of dolphins and I sent him the helicopter. And every time something came, he was like, no, it's fine. God's going to save me. And I'm like, bitch, I'm giving you all these things and you're not taking any action. So if I give you these things, but you don't take action, what am I? So right now you're thinking about your person not taking action, but you have to think back. Okay, how's this functioning for me? This is a good example for me. I'm a Pisces rising, and I'm a Leo sun and a Leo moon. So when my Pisces is like, yeah, man, I just don't really feel like doing that right now because like I just don't feel it. So I feel like, doing my taxes right now is just going to be like really draining for me. So I'm just, I can't really do it right now. And my Leo's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, don't worry about it. We got other shit to do that's like way more interesting and exciting. So let's fuck that right off. Okay. So I do that, and I don't do my taxes. Now, there are various reasons for that. I'm salty because my taxes go to my ex-husband. So when I do them, it's like I pay to get my taxes done so that my ex-husband can get that money for my son's child support. But that's because I have an ego-based feeling about that money. Instead of me feeling like, oh, that's paying for my son's education, I'm like, oh, that's going to my ex-husband who's a real prick. Okay? And so I don't do it. Well, all these little repercussions are coming from not having mailed in. And the thing is, I actually did the taxes, but it didn't go through because of like weird COVID stuff. And TurboTax was like, it's fine, just print it out and mail it. And I was like, okay, it's over there on my desk. And those were my 2020 taxes. So 2020 comes around, 2021 comes around, and I'm like, oh, I have to do, or I'm sorry, they were my 2019 ones. I have to do my taxes, and I go to do them, and all this weird shit unfolds because I didn't mail the other one and still haven't mailed it. This is a very minor thing that caused weird tower moments for me that were stupid. Like I missed the opportunity to get around $3,000 that I was due to me. Didn't get that because I didn't get my shit together. So the divine is like, Pearl, you were like, I don't have any money and I don't have any income. And I was like, okay, well, here's a tax break thing that you can get. And you didn't do it. And then you're like, I don't understand. And I was like, okay, here's another thing that you can get. Also didn't do it. And then you were like, it was just, can you just make money like magically appear in my account? And I even tried to do that. But because you didn't do this other thing, it still wouldn't work. So now I have to intervene. So you know what happens? I get a phone call. And they're like, hey, I noticed you didn't fill these forms out. And I was like, yeah, this, that, and the other thing. And they're like, okay, well, you need to do that right now because if you don't do that, you're going to lose out on this amount of money. And I know this person who has dealt with me before was like, you're a single mom. You have a growing business. Take this money. And I was like, okay. Literally, the source had to get a lady to yell at me on the phone to grow up and stop letting my Pisces rising feel like it's not time to do something. Divine masculine. That's my masculine energy. That's how I am like my masculine because my masculine has been doing what I just described with me. There's all these opportunities, tons of opportunities to freaking contact me, to come to my place, to see me in public. And he's like, oh, I just want to be with my feminine. And the universe is like, are you fucking serious, man? So this hidden assistance is that the universe was like, are you fucking serious, man? And did something about it. It's like, okay, bro, if you're not going to do anything, I'm going to inspire the divine feminine to haul ass. And then we'll see what you do. Right? Get a lady to yell at you and see if you fucking do something about it. Well, you know what? I'm getting my $3,000. It's 7:11 a.m. right now. It's a confirmation that you should just freaking do something about it. All right. So, I see what you're saying here. For personal readings, you can go to pearlsprayers.com to book personal readings. There's a custom reading. If you want a custom reading, you can look through the different styles. I do obstacles removed, release and rebuild, just like I do here, and tell me everything spreads. So you can find that all there, and the links are in the description box below. Alrighty, so here is this position. What past experience challenges me in the rebuilding process? The 5 of Wands in reverse, which is interesting, and death. The constant internal struggle that took place between the masculine and feminine energy inside of self, in regards to ending the behaviors or the situations that were preventing union. And for masculine energy, he's got behaviors preventing him from coming into union. For feminine energy, she's got the same thing, but it's because she's been holding on to the masculine instead of allowing the death of that situation so she can come into another union. right? Because she wants to stay in the safety net of her past union. But really, to rebuild, she's going to have to give up that struggle and allow the separation, because we know that it is through the separation that, and releasing that spark, or that feeling that the only person you can be with is this one that you have this spark with, because there's lots of sparks. There are lots of sparks available to you, but only if you release the internal struggle. So you're very challenged here. Now, if this masculine can release their internal struggle and allow if there's a karmic situation, to allow that to die, or if there is just a belief or a mindset that needs to be allowed to die, when you take your action to end your internal struggle that you're in, which was like, should I stay or should I go? When you finally take those steps to leave, the masculine, if that person is a reflection of you, they will release their internal struggle. Now, it is ironic and stupid and annoying that when that happens, that you have the experience of being like, okay, well, I'm going to go. And then the masculine is like, okay, I'm going to stop struggling with myself and I'm just going to rebirth the connection. Because at this point, you're like, I left. And the masculine energy is like, I know, but I don't want you to. And you have that decision then. But then you get to make a choice. It's not something that you feel pulled because of your wounds that you have. It's because you now can assess whether or not this person is right for you, which you couldn't do before. Before, you were just convinced, but it wasn't coming from a place of authentic self. It was coming from your ego's fears that there's no one else better, that that you have some weird past life connection, like the twin flame journey thing makes it that you can only be happy in this experience. Whatever it is, now you get to choose. All right, so the next placement we have is what can I do right now to build my confidence? This is the 9 of Wands in reverse and the Ace of Wands upright. So you have to come out of isolation. You have to actually, there's two things here. Some of us have been healing all of our wounds and isolating to do that. But we may have been in a victim consciousness. So we have to release our victim consciousness to come out of the isolation and be able to actually come into a union with anybody. Some of us have resisted healing these wounds, and we need to stop fighting against that and actually heal the wounds so that we can have what it is that we desire. So it just depends on where you fall in that spectrum. Most likely a feminine energy is going to have done the healing and it's time for her to come out of isolation, but she might be needing to release victim consciousness. The masculine energy has resisted doing the healing, taking the steps to heal and integrate the feminine part of self, because he's been also in victim consciousness, but not able to get out of it. And the Ace of Wands is about what your heart desires. It's about creative energy, prosperity and abundance, like the Pentacle, but more from a soul's perspective. And it's also about like really communicating something to somebody, a new communication, or saying something new. So the position is, this can build your confidence. So either finally allowing yourself to come out of isolation and releasing victim mentality and going after the thing that you want. That is really going to increase your confidence, or finally taking those steps to heal, depending on where you are on your journey. The next position is what possible future challenges could arise. We have the Three of Wands in reverse in the headspace and the Empress card upright in the heart space. Very interesting. Waiting. The divine feminine not wanting to wait for the time that it will take for the masculine to heal, because the masculine energy is likely resisting the healing and in victim consciousness right now. Oh, woe is me. She walked away from me. Like, why? Oh, it's because I don't take action. Oh, I never do that because I'm a loser. Like that kind of stuff. Like, and that, getting rid of that and just doing what he wants is going to help build his confidence. But what he could possibly face in the future is the divine feminine not wanting to wait anymore, being impatient and just going her own way. So he's really challenged by that. And I think also there could have been a past energy that, like a past wife energy, that could be impatient or upset with a new union taking place too. That could also be challenging. The next position is what past behaviors have destabilized me. Wow. The Hierophant upright and Temperance in reverse. These are major destabilizing energies. The Hierophant, and we have this shocking element here. This is a rigid authority, a rigid controlling authority. There's like it can be a tradition, a religious belief system. And coming out with Temperance, there might definitely be something about religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. It can be a card about marriage. So it can also be that like a past marriage that was really like the results were really shocking or didn't go as expected. And the Temperance energy in reverse can be about alcoholism too, or substance abuse. But I often associate it with drinking too much, but it's about being out of balance. It's about not believing in the protection of a higher power. This is a card about faith. So things that have tested your faith cause you to not believe in a higher power, and actually figuring out how to allow this healing to take place so that you can come into a new sacred union. That is definitely coming up. I'm watching your commentary here a little bit on the side, and I'm seeing you say, "What the hell? I almost fell over." It's so him. Yeah. It's really strange. This collective energy is very, very, like, when I do collective readings, I feel like, you know what? I'm never going to get paid because these are as good as personal readings for most everybody. Okay, let's see. What can I do now to avoid this and stabilize? All right, we've got the Mother of Swords in reverse and the Page of Swords in reverse. This is really interesting because it's a stabilizing energy. I'm not usually thinking of the Page of Swords in reverse. The Mother of Swords in reverse is like overthinking. So releasing overthinking. But I also think there could be a feminine energy that is very cutting, emotionally detached, conniving, releasing, not being afraid to release that energy, not being afraid to face off that energy and let it go. Releasing fears and anxieties about the feminine, divine feminine being in the shadow, not being able to see clearly, not understanding what you want to communicate with her, releasing fears about that. The Page of Swords in reverse is about being brave enough to wield a sword. It's about having courage, but it's also about spying and watching. So I think Divine Masculine, maybe one of the things that is the addiction is watching, trying to see the feminine energy, trying to find out if the feminine energy is mad at you, is, conniving, trying to see. It's almost like if Divine Masculine can convince himself that the Divine Feminine is really a bad person, then he can release his urge, his need to come into union with her. It's like sometimes masculine will blame the feminine for the feelings he has about her. So it's like he keeps looking for reasons that the feminine doesn't want him. And that is what's causing him to be imbalanced in regards to the union. I think he also needs to stop worrying about, because sometimes I associate Hierophant energy with people watching over you. I think he needs to stop worrying about people spying on his relationship or on the feminine energy or something too. Like worrying about needing to protect her and not being able to protect her. The universe is like, bitch, have faith. I got this. I can protect the feminine way better than you, right? Remember, release this ego where you think you're the better driver. You're not, okay? You're not the better driver. Like the universe is the better driver. So relinquish control, sir. What future prospects do I have to look forward to once I rebuild and stabilize? No shit. The 10 of Pentacles in reverse, which is interesting because it's coming out with the sun upright, which is total happiness, bliss, all of the elements fulfilled, divine masculine energy in its full power, complete illumination, total enlightenment. And what is the enlightenment about? It's about how the attachment to what your 10 of Pentacles looks like is the thing that keeps you from ever enjoying your material fulfillment. So you get so attached. My material fulfillment has to look like this. It has to look this way, right? The tradition, the authority that has its hold over me. It must look this way. We must have a white house with the black shutters and a car and 2.5 kids and a dog, right? But as you release this idea that the westernized capitalist American dream was one individual's dream that was then enforced on all of us by media for the last however long you've been around, and release that our true happiness and our true bliss fulfillment rarely looks like it does for every other person. It's like trying to buy clothes from a big box store. Okay? Are there 3 sizes of people? Is there a small, a medium, and a large person, and that's the only people? Are they also only a white person in England in the fucking turn of the century? That's how we base our medical dosages on. A white British dude. Okay? Do I look like a fucking white British dude to you? I'm very white, but I ain't a British dude. I'm also like vaguely indigenous from my dad's side of the family. There's a lot of shit going on inside of me. I am not one thing. And our happiness is not one way either. By the way, in terms of that thing about clothes, let me tell you this. For those of us that have been dealing with body image issues for our whole lives, when you go to a store and you try on clothes and you cry because, and here's how you phrase it, I don't look good in this. Okay, let me just give you a little bit of peace for the rest of your life. Here's how I want you to react. The next time you go to a store that is charging you, I don't know, I just spent $113 on a pair of jeans so that I could hopefully get a pair of jeans that fits me, charging you a pretty price on whatever it is you're buying, and you pull it up over your beautiful calves and your gorgeous thighs and your juicy booty or whatever you look like, and it doesn't fit you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to whip those off your body, put on your other clothes, take your ass out to the front counter, slam it on the table, and be like, your clothes are not designed to fit my body. Why would I pay $113 for you to design a piece of clothing that doesn't fit me? I'm the customer. And as far as I know, you're making things for me. Are you not making things for me? Is this not for me? I used to all the time go into like really stores with no plus sizes and be like, hi, is there anything here that you could show me that would work for me? And just watch the turmoil of the person being like, because they don't want to tell me I'm fat, right? I would love that moment. I would be like, this is really making you crazy. And then I would be like, you really didn't, this company really doesn't make anything that would fit me? How come? Is my money not good? I don't have good money? Why? It's so weird. Because it is weird. It is weird. Why do you not want to make money? So what they figured out was it's really expensive to make a lot of different size clothing. That's called tailoring. And that's why back in the turn of the century, we only had like 3 dresses, because it turns out it's really expensive to make very nice things fit people. So rather than coming up with a cool technology that laser analyzes your body when you walk through the door, which would be really fucking cool, and then laser printing the clothes, somebody patent that really quick and making things exactly to fit in the cheapest way possible while not depriving people of living wages. Please come up with this business structure. Instead of doing that, they're like, you know what would be easier? Instead of us spending more to expand sizes and have a lot more options for a lot of different bodies, we can convince people that they're fucking stupid and lazy and they can't control themselves. And then when they come to the store, they won't blame us. They won't be mad at us. They won't ask us to provide things for them that actually work. No, they'll go home and eat themselves into an oblivion, because why should they live a happy, good life when they're so fat, miserable, and unhappy? If you need spiritual nourishment counseling, please hop into my DMs, because I do that. Because you have to utterly change your idea about why you feel the way you feel in the world and the reasons for it. There's reasons for it. We have a structure. We've been told. We've been parroted. Oh, this is how it should be. You should be a size medium or extra small if you want to feel like a human, because those are the only sizes left in the store when you go. So pick one of those 2 sizes. Those are the appropriate sizes for people to wear. Fuck you. That's not appropriate. That's appropriate for you to make a lot of money, which probably makes you happy. But that's not what my happiness constitutes. So this is such a positive outcome for once we release this attachment to the safety of the comfort of the familiar of our past. What do we get when we rebuild from this? We get a new idea of what makes us happy, which might not be this person we think is our twin. Wow, this is a long one. We're already at an hour and I got to start the oracles now. All righty. Let's see. Divine Feminine, we need to help you continue this release process. And you are currently in the energy of the shapeshifter. This is in the light attributes, which means that you have skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness and the ability to see the potential in everything. So you have released the shadow attribute of projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. This is something that we will do when we try to get into a karmic relationship. And we know, like there's a couple deal breakers for me now that I didn't used to have, because I would be like, but who will love me then? And I'm like, bitch, if there's no one who can hit these like bases, these like minimum things, then it's not worth trying to find somebody anyway. But one of my deal breakers is, if you are a muggle, you can be a muggle. I'm not anti-muggle. I'm not a true Slytherin. But if you are a muggle, bitch, you better believe in magic. You might not be able to do magic, but you better believe in it, because I can't be with you if you don't believe in it. For a long time, I would choose people that were really like analytical, logical, and they didn't believe in the spiritual stuff. And I would just be like, oh, it's because I don't know, whatever, and I hate it and don't like it, but it's fine because this is the best I can do. And so you just shapeshift to match the best you can do. You settle into that mold and it's not for you. So Divine Feminine has stopped doing that. She's now like, are you a muggle? And if the person doesn't even know what they're talking about, she's like, it's fine. Don't worry. I gotta go. But if they're a muggle and they're like, you mean like Harry Potter? Like, I mean, I'm not a witch. Then you're like, okay. Well, you know Harry Potter, you know muggles, and you know that you're not a witch. We can talk. Okay? Emotions. Guess what? Where did Divine Feminine need most help in soothing herself? It was in emotional outbursts so that she doesn't have communications. This is stop communicating with the person. Stop communicating about it because you're feeding the story of every time you say something, you make it true, basically, when you feed detail into it. It's not going to work if you're like, if you just say something like that you don't have any intention behind, because intention is where energy flows. Intention goes where energy goes where intention flows. So if you say like, I'm going to kill the president, but you have no real intention of doing that, it's not going to happen. But if you feed a lot of detail into something, the universe starts to interpret the detail as intention. It's like, oh, we're going here now. Okay. We're going, I don't know. We were going over there, but now we're going over here. I don't really know why. I don't know exclusion. I don't know the difference. If you say, I don't want it, the universe hears it. Okay. It doesn't have a lot. It's just like, okay, this is very confusing. I guess we'll go here. We'll go here. And when your life is doing that, it's because your emotions are doing that. If your emotions are in control, then your life is very tumultuous. If your head is in control, then your life is very tumultuous for the same reason, because you're not feeling, you're not tuning in, you don't have a sense, you're just trying to think everything. You can't think, it turns out, you can't think everything and you can't feel everything. You have to think and feel and think and feel and think and feel in balance. You have to be like, oh, I feel this. And then you have to be like, oh, what am I thinking that's making me feel that? And you're like, oh, is that true? And you're like, oh, it's probably not true. And they're like, oh, I feel a little bit better when I think it's not true. Oh, that feels kind of good. Okay, well, I'm going to go down that path instead, because when I was thinking about the other thing, it didn't seem true. And I don't know, but maybe that is true. I don't know. But now I feel bad again. That is how you do it. Okay. Saint Dymphna is here to show you. She's like the hermit energy with the lantern that guides you in the darkness. You're blind, basically, and the only way you can find your way to what you desire is through that interaction with your head and your heart, which is why I balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And then I look at the head space and the heart space of the people who identify that way. If you're strongly in your masculine energy, then this might resonate for you on the left side, or on the right side if you're strongly in your feminine. So that's how I read it. If you're a person who is non-binary, it's first of all, I love you. I want to give you this love right now. If you are a person who is non-binary or who is dealing with transgender or any type of issue like that, you, I believe, are the salvation for our planet, because you hold the key to our happiness. The key to our happiness is flowing with how you feel and making sure with your thoughts that you are allowing your feelings, but not allowing your feelings to dominate. Okay. Non-binary is a perfect willingness to be comfortable expressing in the masculine energy or the feminine energy when so called. It is 100% authentic to the self. And for me, it is the future, because that is where peace is. If we are too dominant in one side or the other, we are going to be either too aggressive or too passive or too. But being somewhere in the center inside of ourselves is truly bliss. And non-binary people represent that internal state. It doesn't mean that everybody in the future has to be non-binary, can't be more one, strongly identify one or the other. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is a non-binary person represents the ability to understand that we are an internal flow of energy and that we can honor any of that energy and should honor it equally. And when we do, we feel very whole. Okay? That's how that means. And if you have the opportunity to start when you meet somebody saying, my pronouns are, it is such a loving thing to do for people who have been excluded from our population for years, even though they've existed for years. So I know it's a weird thing to do, but when you can try to remember, it's just hard for me to remember to say like my pronouns are. But when you can do that, because people who want the freedom of those pronouns, who they want to be seen and heard, it is such a gift that you can give to those people. So do that. Okay. That is beautiful. Oh my God. Look at the card. It says energy goes where my intention flows. I didn't even see it. That's so funny. Because I hold the cards, but I'm looking at the card on the screen and I'm looking at you. So I'm not even paying attention, but oh my God. So yes, I don't have to explain that energy flows where my intention goes, right? Oh my God, that's crazy. Friendship, divine feminine, you were getting your hidden assistance right here was this Ace of Cups that comes from the Ostara Tarot. And unlike other Ace of Cups, it actually has two individuals on it, which made me look it up and read it. And it has a beautiful little passage in it about how the Ace of Cups is about human connection in general, not necessarily romantic connection. And I think that divine feminine is really benefiting from this self-love that includes honoring those friends and connections around her. I also think she's at a point where it's good to have fun and celebrate and date and just get out there. Divine masculine ain't budging. So go do what you want to do, girl. But do it with love. Bring love into the situation. There has been some bitterness that's coming because you feel a bit salty about not being able to get what you wanted. And even though you're working on surrendering what you wanted to a higher power and trying to do things that are for the highest good, it doesn't mean that you're not like, are you fucking serious, divine masculine? Why did you gas me up for this whole fucking time only to just like peace out on me, bitch? Like, that, okay? That, you can feel it, you can honor the anger, and you should, but then you need to bring love into the situation, right? We are getting here the protection message in reverse. Call back your power, cut the cords, and soul retrieval. So this is really important, I think, that you maintain your boundaries. But again, make sure they are not too impenetrable. Like there are boundaries that should be impenetrable. Let me say that. But the ones that you're putting up right now, because you feel this cautious energy towards this masculine, those are appropriate, but you want to leave yourself open to new communication. It's one thing to protect yourself from going back to the safety of your old way of communicating. That's one thing. But it is another thing to be like, I'm not open to any type of communication. That's fine as long as you know that that is going to continue your state of separation, not only with this person, but from yourself. Because again, you have to bring love to the situation. And having a healthy boundary is loving, but the healthy part of it is key. So make sure when you're establishing these boundaries that they are for the highest good of all. Dear Spirit is coming out in reverse. Bring a gentle touch. See? Do you see? This is exactly what I'm saying. You can have this boundary. Where's the book? Where is the book? Did I put it back in the box? You can have this healthy boundary, but you want to bring a gentle touch to it. It needs to be a loving boundary, not one that's coming from spite or anger. And the message from the Colette Baron Reed deck for Dear Spirit, I don't usually get the protection message, so I'm going to look at it today. It says, Dear Spirit is bringing you a gentle warning that now is not the time to engage in an argument, no matter how volatile others are being. Do not match their intensity with your own. If you are dealing with an overly assertive person, step back and disengage, lest you agree to something out of alignment with your intentions. Don't let anyone bully you into anything you're uncomfortable with. You have solid footing if you stand your ground with grace. Those who disagree will begin to find their own gentleness and willingness to compromise. Dear Spirit also brings the message that it might be easy to offend someone today or take offense because someone lacks diplomacy. Let all of that pass. You are not meant to take this world personally. While it's a beautiful gift to be sensitive, today you need a tougher hide so that any compromises you make allow you to maintain your integrity. There you go, Divine Feminine. Do not take Divine Masculine's behavior personally. Do not allow it to cause you to go into this negative communications that are coming from places of emotional outburst. Just be sensitive. And then you're getting Trickster Energy again. I'm not going to read it because we just got it in the reading yesterday. But basically, this is an energy that you're embracing that something needs to change. Like there is something within you that you need to change. And we know that the thing that needs to be released is this tendency to stick to the familiar relationships we've had in the past. This includes when we were children, 0 to 7, the relationships we saw our parents or guardians or people in the books we loved or the movies we loved or our friends, families. All of those experiences make the collective belief system that we now have about love. And if we saw a lot of abusive, neglectful patterns, if we saw third-party betrayal dynamics, those things became normalized, which means they feel safe and comfortable even though they are not good. So it's definitely really important for you to look at those places where you may be in your, you may still have beliefs that are holding on to you that are just about your comfort, and they're tricking you because they're causing you to interpret behavior from your person through the lens of your old beliefs instead of seeing them with that fresh new energy that comes from the Ace of Swords when you release these old patterns. So some of the divinatory meanings include move out of your comfort zone and embrace new challenges. Stop procrastinating, for your purpose awaits. Release control, judgment, and expectation. A surprise direction is a great blessing. An opportunity disguised in a situation is just what you've been waiting for. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to Divine Masculine now and close out his oracles. Oh, shit. Trickster! What the fuck? Oh my God. Divine Masculine, you are in the light attributes of the Trickster, which is transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. So Divine Masculine is actually in the light. Now, because this came out twice, I'm going to read it again, okay? This Trickster energy from the Shamanic Medicine deck says, it's time to recognize a great imbalance in the way you live, which can no longer be sustained. Your barriers need to come down and you must relinquish control. Trickster leads you to an unfamiliar world. Embrace it. Change your perspective, some of which stems from your upbringing and others' expectations and opinions. Forget what you deem is right or wrong. The apparent chaos around you is some of your greatest teachings and experiences if you choose to see it as such. How else can you grow and evolve? Whoever or whatever pushes your buttons is merely a reflection of what you need to release. Be assured that once the lesson is realized, it will affect you no more and will never present itself again. So let Trickster lead you to an unpredictable and merry dance. Be light of heart, ask questions that no one else would dare to see, and see the humor within each situation until you recognize the path you walk is never certain. You will have fun along the way with the medicine of Trickster as your companion. So Divine Feminine, here's your companion. It's the Divine Masculine. Ah! I was obsessed with Labyrinth when I was a kid, and this is Jareth energy to me, and that's what I wanted, and that's who I got. So I either embrace this challenge or I don't come into union with him. You're also in the light attributes of the Avenger, Divine Masculine. So you're transcending dimension, stuffiness, and predictable behavior with your Trickster energy. And then you have a desire to balance the scales of justice and righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. There's also travel implied here in this card. You want to avenge what has happened. You want to avenge the situation, and you're coming up with really kind of clever means of doing this. And you're figuring out basically how to get away with what it is that you desire, which is to come into union with your divine feminine, because you want to avenge this separation. You're getting 2 guardian angels, one for sleep and one for practicing makes perfect. So this is that you really are still, I think, needing rest. You might have been having sleepless nights or trouble sleeping in general. You might be not getting restful sleep when you do sleep. And I feel it's about just kind of taking a moment to pause and practice these new skills that you're trying to use in this, whatever it is that you're pursuing, and allow this. This can also be 4 of Swords energy. So this is faith. It can be processing grief. But you really just need to be practicing now. What happens when we end something is sometimes we are just really eager to like rush into something else just to distract ourselves. And instead of practicing the new skills we learned that helped us to separate, for instance, one of the reasons that the feminine feels worthy enough to walk away from the masculine is because she's done all of this work on herself, taking care of herself. But the self-care she was doing came from this excitement, right, that she had, that Page of Wands energy, the spark she was feeling. Like she felt motivated because she was like, oh, this is going to get my masculine, right? But after we release the masculine, sometimes it can be hard to practice the new behaviors that we first put into place that raised our worthiness up enough to allow us to walk away from the person that wasn't honoring our worthiness, right? So it can be hard to maintain some of those behaviors, but you just need to keep practicing the self-love, practicing taking care of yourself, and practicing being faithful, having faith, just trusting. We can sleep well at night when we trust that everything's going to be taken care of. That is when we get the best sleep. So if you start to really have that faith and really believe in this, the feminine side of self that needs to release those reins and allow the divine to drive, because the divine is going to give you the best possible outcome, it gets a lot easier to sleep. Alrighty. How the hell am I reading you so right on? I don't know. God gave me this gift, I guess. I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. So this is this point for the masculine. This is the hidden assistance where he's recognizing that he has chosen his fear, and he's wanting to choose again. He wants to choose love, not his fears. If he chooses his fears, then he's going to walk away from his desire. He's going to trust that the ego is right, that he can't get what he wants, that he can't keep what he wants when he does get it, that he doesn't deserve what he wants, that he was wrong about what he wanted, right? The ego is going to do everything it can to protect the status quo, to keep you in the safety of your lack mentality, because that's all you know. So it's like, no, we can't go to this new place. What the fuck is going to happen if we do? You know, like it's like really scared. So divine masculine realizes this, and now he has this opportunity to choose love instead of fear. We get this card a lot for the masculine. He's very concerned about family connections. He's trying to grow this family and have a stable one. He hasn't had a stable one in the past, potentially, or if he did, he ended up losing out on that later. But it's a difficult energy, and he's really wanting this healing and this illumination so he can have the family that he wants. This can be the blending of two families, etc. Expect powerful change. This is in reverse. So this is something divine masculine is resisting, because I think he knows how powerful the change will be, and he's afraid, right? So he chooses the fear instead of the love. He's got to change. And the reason that is happening is because of this card, breaking the chain, the ancestral pain, the ancestral healing that needs to take place. He has to rewrite the future. It's going to require a powerful change. If you've had a traditional system of beliefs for many years, or the way that you were raised by the authority figures in your life, however that falls, you are absolutely going to have a difficult time of releasing those patterns. They're deeply ingrained. It's going to require subconscious reprogramming. You know, I've been working on myself for years. Probably since the beginning of COVID, I have been doing very deep subconscious reprogramming, and I've done lots of self-help, lots of spiritual stuff for years and years and years. And in the last year and a half, my healing has been accelerated so much because of the subconscious reprogramming stuff. And I do help people with that. You can go to pearlsprayers.com. There's a program called Spiritual Nourishment or Intuitive Nourishment or something like that. I can't think of what it's called now. But that is how I help you to kind of figure out where your wounds come from so that you can reprogram the thinking that you have about them. Wow, this came out from my sister yesterday. Otter spirit, you are never alone. And it is so cute. It's also a beautiful message. So I'm going to share it with you. It's number 42, which is the answer to the universe. And if you don't know that reference, I'm sorry for you. Okay, let's see. Otter spirit, like true friends, otters nurture each other and express their affection through touch. Actions such as holding hands and giving hugs offer reassurance that we are never really alone and that we are always cherished. Otter spirit has appeared to remind you to experience and express friendship in a tangible and even tactile way. Communicate with your voice, your facial expressions, your gestures, and your actions, letting your love express itself beyond just the words you speak. Otter spirit's message is that presence matters, so remember to be fully present with those you care about, helping them sense the love and affection and appreciation you have for them. Now is a time for a joyful celebration of the love in your life that expresses as friendship and companionship. Hug someone, touch their arm, or simply look into their eyes with your full attention, saying, I care, you matter. Make time for friendship. Otter spirit promises that the moment you reach out, you will remember that you too have many who love and care about you. You are never alone, and you are always loved. This is profound because divine masculine must reach out. He must reach out and touch the divine feminine. The divine feminine is walking away or has walked away because of the masculine's inability to reach out to her. So this message is very strong. You must reach out and touch the divine feminine and make sure she feels that you care and that you prioritize her. And then the feminine side of self must emulate this. So if you want your masculine person to reach out to you and be present for you, then you must go to every relationship in your life and you must reach out and be present for those relationships. I have a new puppy. I've been spending so much time with her, just like giggling like a kid, like watching her and just be incredible. I found out, I took her to her vet yesterday. I got her from she was straight out of Compton. I got her from just a rehoming situation. So I had no information. I didn't know her age. I didn't know what breed she was outside of that. She looked like some kind of a husky, which is what I wanted. So I took her and I found out that she's an incredibly rare and beautiful white German Shepherd husky. So she's super smart, super obedient, and will be incredibly protective. And I thought she was going to be roughly around 60 pounds, which is about the biggest that a female husky gets. No. She's already 20 pounds and she's 3 months old. So they told me she's going to be more like 100 plus pounds. So I'm going to be huge, very scary looking white wolf dog. So love that for me. My apartment, I don't know. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? But my moments that I'm connecting with her and spending and being so present, I realized that I am rarely that present. And I even felt guilty because I have a 15-year-old son and he loves cars. And I really work hard to be very present when he talks to me about them. There's a lot that I don't know or care about cars, but I really work to be present. And I just realized that I could be even more present, that I could reach out even more to my son and be even more present with him than I am. So go to the relationships in your life, the really important ones, and do in those relationships the things that you expect and desire from your person, and watch what happens, because you're a mirror. So either this person that is a mirror for you uses their free will and heals and pivots to be able to rise to your level, or that person cannot reflect your energy back. They are not meant to. They do not have the free will to choose such a thing because of divine intervention, or because they just will not choose it at this time and you're not meant to be together in this lifetime. They will go away. So you have to, when I read for the masculine and I give the masculine message, go reach out and touch the feminine. I am not talking to your person. I'm talking to you. And you have to find out how this energy is reflective of you. And then the medicine for divine masculine is my favorite type of medicine. Plant medicine, bitches. You know, I already had some this morning. Oh my God. Boy, when I moved to the West Coast, people on the East Coast used to tell me, because I'm from New York, and people on the East Coast used to be like, I think you will like California. And because I was from New York, and New Yorkers have this arbitrary hatred of California, I honestly don't know why. When I came out to California, I thought all the Californians were going to be like, ew, you're from New York, like, fuck you. Because I thought it was like this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing. No. When I got to California, I'd be like, I'm from New York. People be like, I love New York. New York is great. Oh my God, I love going there so much. It's the best. And I was like, oh, New Yorkers hate you. I don't know why. I guess we just hate sun and happiness and like just chilling for a minute while we wait for our coffee. We fucking hate that. Like I was so, but all my friends were like, bitch, you belong on the West Coast. And then I got out here and was like, wait a minute. I've been a stoner for my whole life and didn't know it. So I embraced it fully. All right. Plant medicine. Divine masculine. This will help you. You know what will help you? Oh, I forgot to tell you the bottom of the card. The truth. The truth will set you free. Let's hear your medicine. It says, a controversy means you are not sure what to deem as truth. It's like you have been fed false news. Shamans use plant medicine in journeying work to induce visions and heighten clarity. Plant medicine is a far cry from the synthetic pills and potions abundant today. In fact, if you switch to plant medicine, you can get off all of those pills. Just saying. Okay. Plant medicine, when plant medicine is passed to you, you have the option to accept or reject its remedy. Do you want your life to remain as it is? Are you ready to see the truth? I don't know. Just to distinguish between the dream state and clear reality, indulge in the awakening that plant medicine can bring. If you are brave, want adventure, and are prepared to lose false comfort, this shit right here, false comfort, the sanctuary of the past. Plant medicine can bring you a stark understanding of who you are. The veil between worlds is ready to be torn down so that you might discover that which has been deliberately hidden. Choose wisely, for plant medicine will lead you to the path of truth from which there is no return. So some of the meanings include fully investigate a matter before making an agreement. It's time to leave an unhealthy situation, which is really ringing for me because divine masculine's unhealthy situation is not walking away from the divine feminine. Because when you walk away in the Eight of Cups, you're walking towards the moon, which is the divine feminine integration. It's the moon and the sun together. So it's not walking away from divine feminine masculine has to do. It's walking away from the toxic behaviors, patterns, and people that he has filled his life with because of this feeling of unworthiness and lack of love that he's carrying around. Okay. So the veil between no, that's not what we're saying. So check in with and trust your intuition. Someone is hiding something from you. Admit the truth before someone else reveals it and live your truth. And then plant medicine speaks and says, awaken as I take you deep. My truth reveals you've been asleep, which we got the sleep card for you. You'll see the world with bright new eyes. Assist those who still live the lies. So divine masculine, go do an ayahuasca trip. Do us all a favor. Get the fuck out of your head. Okay, let's close the reading with these final cards now that we're at an hour and 36 minutes. Oh my God. All right, we've got the Lovers card in reverse, which means y'all are now. Yesterday, I pulled the theme for the week, or Wednesday, I pulled the theme for the week, and it was the Lovers card or something. Or maybe that was yesterday. I don't remember. Anyway, I was like, Lovers card the week that I released my masculine, or I guess I released him 2 weeks ago, but still. So, you're both right now in the shadow attributes. Well, let me read it first. It says obsessive passion that harms others and self-destructive devotion. Okay. So, you have been in these attributes. You have an obsessive passion that harms others. Most of us in the twin flame community have third-party situations bubbling under the surface somewhere in the trajectory of our journey. Primarily because these journeys take years. The odds that you're going to go years without being in another relationship is very slim. Oh, by the way, if you're new here and you just met your twin like a few months ago, let me say that again. These journeys take years. So get used to me. You're probably going to be here for a long while. I've been 13 years in my situation. And I know people who have been in the situation longer than that. I'm seeing questions. I don't do personal questions during these live readings. It's a collective reading. But you can ask me personal questions at pearlsprayers.com or come to the live TikTok reading later this afternoon. Probably be about now 5 hours from now or so. And also tomorrow around 12 p.m. Pacific Coast time, I do live card pulls on Instagram Live with Grace Strega, so you get 2 readers for free. But this lover's energy, we need to come into the light. We need to come out of the obsessive passion that harms others, where, because we're fixated on this person, they left their family for us. They do all these crazy things kind of ensue, and it does harm other people because we're obsessed with something that we can't have. And it's a self-destructive devotion that we have engaged in. You also just might not be at this point. My Instagram is Tuned in Tarot. All my links are in the description box below. I think they're all there. And pearlsprayers.com has all my social media as well. Great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. You need to shift back into your passion and devotion and allow yourselves just to appreciate one another. It can be hard to do that when you're in separation because because of our ego stands in the way. But you can be in separation and still feel this passion and devotion. And in order to come into union, you have to reestablish it. Which is why when I pulled the Lover's card the other day, I was like, bitch, I don't see this happening because I do not feel passion and devotion for this person who has given me nothing but silence. But then I realized that I am associating a certain person as my twin, which is this business, right? Maybe that person isn't my twin. So maybe I will start to feel unbridled passion and devotion towards a new person if I just let myself release this other person, and instead of feeling unbridled passion and devotion towards one person, I allow myself to feel this way about myself. What if I have unbridled appreciation, devotion, passion of myself? What is that going to look like and feel like? Because that is going to be the answer to your problem. Because right now you think, oh, I'll never feel that unless I have another person to show me how to feel that. But that's actually the opposite. You never truly learn how to love someone in a relationship. You first have to learn how to love yourself. You can be in a relationship when that happens, but it's a lot harder because you keep having to attend to the other person's needs. When you are in separation, which is the gift of the twin flame journey, that is where you see the most gains because you learn how to feel this way for yourself. Notice the Lover's card doesn't have a lover in it. So come into the light attributes, twins, and have a great passion and devotion and unbridled appreciation of self. And release the obsessive and destructive patterns. Saint Christopher is here to help you in safe travels. This is the saint who bore Christ upon his back and realized as he got across the water that the child became heavier and heavier, and he realized it was the Christ child. It has it's tied to the Atlas story of carrying the world on your back, sort of a thing. And for Catholics, we always have St. Christopher medals in our cars, or if we go on a plane or something, it's like the protection that we take from that energy. So you're on your journey together and you are safe. You are safe to travel this journey. There might be some actual 3D travel that is taking place between the two of you. You might need to travel together. It doesn't mean it has to be across a long distance, but it could be a real travel. But it's mostly about the spiritual journey that you're on and embracing that it is a journey, not a destination. Attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. So if you are experiencing attack, pain, fear, what else is it? Judgment, and any form of separation, it's because why? You need help. Why? What do you need help with? Well, you've got deep wounds about lack mentality, love, affection, money, finances. You have old ideas about it that are creating these relationships that reflect back your own brokenness to you. So that's your help. You being in separation, you being in pain, you being in suffering. It's just like when your body is sick. If your body gets a fever and you're like, fuck you, why do you have a fever? You don't have that reaction. You're like, oh, there must be something wrong. I must be sick. My body needs help. I need some medicine that will cure my infection, or I need to sleep and drink a lot of water so that my body can recover. Okay. Though that pain I feel, that the discomfort from the illness, it's just a language. It's not anything I need to be pissed off about. I just need to hear it, and then I need to observe it, and I need to be like, okay, well, when this happened in the past and I heard this and I observed it, it really helped when I slept the rest of the night, went to bed early, drank a lot of fluids, and just didn't go to work and let myself rest. That is the way that you want to deal with your relationship. If you are having a fever in your relationship, if things are really hot, intense, angry, wrathful, aggressive, you want to go to sleep and drink a lot of fluids, right? Feel your emotions and rest, and don't communicate. Go into the Four of Swords. If you are experiencing a lot of pain in a certain area of your relationship, you want to do something to soothe the pain. If it's, if your limb is twisted up behind you in a weird position, you're like, oh, my arm hurts. Well, you untwist it and you move your arm, right? If you break your limb, you put a cast on it to allow it to heal, which takes what? Time. So you give it time. Your relationship and your body are very similar. You have to use the same kinds of, you have to have the same amount of like detachment from it. It's like I said, you don't get pissed off. I mean, maybe do get pissed off when your body's sick. If you get pissed off when your body's sick, I mean, what can I do for you? But if you are getting pissed off at the fact that you are just seeing how you need to fix things, well, you're just going to rail at the things you need to fix instead of going and getting the right medicine, right? This card keeps coming up, prosperity. It's really present here for the both of you. You tend to see it only in certain ways. That is what came up here with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse and the Sun card. You tend to only see it it has to look or be a certain way. But there's actually a lot of prosperity available to you right now if you can change your mindset about where it comes from. A lot of times we get to, we only get wealth from hourly wages or salary. No, I want you to call Jeff Bezos up and say, hey, do you only make $200 billion by your salary and like your tax break or something? Like, how do you make $200 billion? He's definitely not going to be like, oh yeah, the only thing I do is like, I work for someone else and I make an hourly wage, or yeah, I just get a salary. Like, I don't do anything else. That's the only place prosperity comes. No, prosperity does not come from your hourly wage. Jeff Bezos will be the first person to tell you that. He'll be like, you know what? My whole life changed when I realized that prosperity didn't come from money. Then I got all the money in the world because I realized it wasn't even about money. So I wasn't attached to it anymore. And it just kept multiplying because I realized prosperity was from something else. I don't know anything about him. He could be a total evil person that did a bunch of crazy, like ritual sacrifice shit to make as much money. He might be terrible. I have no idea. But I'm just saying the odds that he believes prosperity comes from your salary, like getting a better job, pretty low, because he wouldn't have done what he did to get to where he got to. Nothing is yet set in stone, and this is emphasized because you two have this tendency to do this. Well, if this is happening, then that will never happen. Okay, well, that would be if all things were fixed. But because of free will, it's never true. Things are never fixed. They're never set in stone. So you could do all the work you wanted to do in the world and not come into union with your divine masculine. It wouldn't have anything to do with you being inadequate or not having done enough work or anything. It's literally because that masculine energy has free will. And if that free will decides not to go along this path, then the masculine is not going to do it. So you could be like waiting for your whole life for your fate or your destiny and not be accounting for the fact that that is a constantly shifting, moving, mutable idea. That's why when people say, oh, can you please give me divine timing? I say no, because what I can tell you right now is I can tell you where you are. And based on my knowledge of how energy works, if you stay here, then maybe I can give you a timeline. By this energy, if nothing changes, then tomorrow you'll be in separation. And by this energy, if you shift, you could potentially come into union much sooner. Also, if I give you a date or a deadline, I'm imposing a structure upon you that comes not from you, but from me, And while my messages come from the divine, it's filtered through my ego. What if I actually feel when you say like, will I come into union soon? And what if my gut instinct, and I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of times my gut instinct is no. For a long time, maybe ever. The majority of the time when somebody asks me that question, instantly that's how I feel. Nope. You want to know why? Because you're asking. If you're asking, then you care. If you care, it's not going to happen. So right away. And then let's say I get a message and it's like 3 weeks, 3 months. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I get the moon card will come out and it'll say the moon phase and the universe will be like, tell the moon phase. And I'll be like, really? Tell the phase. Okay. This is this month or this is next month or this is next year. I hate doing that because I hate being a person who gets those dates. Because if somebody tells me, oh, it's not going to be 6 months, it's not going to be for 6 months, then I'm waiting. I'm not doing anything because I think, oh, 6 months it'll happen. Guess what happened? 6 months went by. Guess what happened? I'm not in union. Why? Was the person wrong? No. There was a potential for union. 6 months from the moment that I had that energetic reading with that person. I know they weren't wrong. I know that person. I trust that person's intuition and their connection to spirit very much. So no, they were not wrong about 6 months. But what happened is, instead of doing the work that I would have done in that 6 month time frame, I waited for the 6 months. I waited for the union because I was like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I didn't deal with any of my shit. None of it. And then when it didn't happen, I was forced to do something about my shit. So the reason why I was given timing was to learn the lesson. Not very fun. So sometimes I will give timing because I'm told to, because I know that person has to learn the lesson I just told you. Rather than ask for timing, don't ask me when it's going to happen. Ask yourself why you want it to happen. Tell me those reasons, and then I will help you make those things happen for yourself right now without waiting. And then when you feel that fulfillment that you think you're going to feel when you're with the person, boom, you become a magnet and they come in immediately. That's how it works. It's really hard to do it with old ass energy because of the patterns that are very in your mind fixed. So you really need to embrace that nothing is fixed. Everything is constantly changing. And that allows you to have a belief in miracles. And believing in miracles is how you can manifest things. Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. We got a lot of messages today about divine orchestration. We got the Tower card, which is in and of itself divine intervention. There is a whole thing that's playing out here. It is about fate and destiny, but again, it's a wheel that's turning and turning and turning, right? So trust in the divine orchestration, the two of you. Just trust that the things that happen really are for you. Y'all know how I feel about this card. Watch and wait. This freaking Hanged Man energy. But this is about gaining perspective. I'm going to read it because I haven't read it in a minute. And it does have a pretty good description. I love this deck. This is the Colette Baron Reed deck. And it is incredible. All right, let's see. I'm going to say, Kat, you're saying you wish you were a magnet. You are. Right now, you're attracting things you don't want. You're always a magnet. You never stop being a magnet. What you wish is you were a magnet for the things you do want. The secret to attracting the things you do want is to think about why you want them. If you think about how to get them, you instantly become repellent. You repel the things you want because trying to control how you get them isn't how you get things, right? You have to think about why, because you put yourself into a headspace of where you're excited, anticipating, delighted. For instance, if you're like, I want to be in a relationship, you have to think about not the things it's like, well, I don't want to be alone. Like, I want to be in a relationship because I don't want to be alone. Or I want to be in a relationship because I don't want to have to support myself. Okay. Those are not ever going to result in a relationship. That is a magnet that's going to attract things you don't want or repel the things you do. What you have to do instead is get to the essence. Why do you want a relationship? Well, I want to feel companionship. Okay. You can get companionship from a dog. Okay. Well, I could get a dog. Okay. Get a dog. You can get companionship from your friends. Call your friends. Okay. Well, but I want to have like sexual energy. All right. There's a $39 tool on Amazon called the Satisfier. Thank me later if you're feminine. I'm sure there's plenty of masculine tools I don't know about. But that one is a good one. And I got to tell you, with an imagination and the Satisfier, you can have amazing sexual energy, okay? You can also find people who are at a spiritual point where they are in need of sexual energy, and you can have sacred sexual union without the specific person that you have in mind. So there's that too. And you're like, okay, well, I want to have like somebody who I can always talk to and who is in my corner. Okay, well, you can always talk to yourself, and you are always in your own corner, right? Oh, you're not? Oh, okay, we'll do that. This is how you become a magnet. You don't become a magnet by thinking about the things you don't have. Well, you do become a magnet. You become a magnet for the things you don't want. You keep attracting what you're noticing, what you're paying attention to. You're like, my bank account doesn't have anything in it. My bank account doesn't have anything in it. My bank account doesn't have anything in it. And the universe is like, no money, no money, no money. And you're like, yeah, but when I think my bank account has thousands of dollars, it doesn't work. You're right. Because you can't make the leap from my bank account doesn't have anything in it to my bank account has thousands of dollars in it. You can say that every day till you're blue in the face, but if you have no wiring to support that, it will be really difficult to manifest it. So what you have to think about is not my bank account has thousands of dollars, but you have to think, oh, it would feel so good if when like yesterday, I had to take my dog to the vet. I've had issues with money for years and years and years. Let me say that. Years and years. And I still need you to support me. So go click support on my website, donate $1, $5, whatever it is to help me, because this is my job. Like, I still need people to book readings. I still need people. I'm not going to say I can't do free readings. I do almost 2 hours of free readings every single day. So when people need free readings, I'm like, they're out there, go get them. But for personal readings, I have to charge or I wouldn't eat, right? So I have had so many years of having issues with money and not being able to do things I want to do or go places I want to go or have things I want to have. And I would think about that a lot. And I'd be like, it doesn't make sense. I have 3 degrees. I went to the most prestigious music school in the world. I studied audio engineering. Like, my job starts at $70K in a good studio. But like, I couldn't attract that work for some reason. Struggle. Well, yesterday I had to take my beautiful dog to this veterinary center that's in Hollywood. The only reason I know about it is because I used to have a cat that I rescued that was a stray, and I couldn't afford her at the time. And I reached out to this Facebook group asking if there was somebody who could take her because she was clearly in need of fostering, and like, I couldn't afford the vet care. And this lovely woman who is a news broadcaster, and she's so funny, on like a channel in Colorado, used to live in Los Angeles, and she contacted me and said, go to this clinic. I will pay for anything the cat needs, which was amazing. So I go to this bougie clinic in Hollywood, and I loved it. It was amazing. It was a great place. The people that worked there were awesome. So when I got my dog, my goal was I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston. It's the most prestigious contemporary school in the world. It tops Juilliard in terms of contemporary and electronic production and stuff like that, but it is neck and neck with Juilliard. So when I got my dog, I was like, I'm not going to get a dog until I can take her to a clinic like that. Well, my mindset about my ability to attract abundance was not good. So it's been a long time that I've been wanting this dog. So finally, I get my dog. Now, I got my dog while I was waiting for a large settlement to come through that I had won against Lyft, because it's not legal to charge rental fees to independent contractors. So technically, they break the law when they charge money for rentals. I was part of a class action suit, and I got my rental fees back. but they didn't come back. They were supposed to come back to me in September, and it didn't happen. And I had planned to get my dog in September. And so I had to face this moment where I was like, there's a possibility Lyft won't pay out. And are you not going to get a dog? Are you going to still think that your worthiness is not good enough? Are you still not going to trust that you're going to be able to generate enough wealth through your website, enough wealth through the work that you do? And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I did it. I got it. I got her. And I had this really precarious money situation. And I was like, I'm trusting. And then a bunch of people supported me on my website. I had an unprecedented week that week in terms of earnings because I asked for help. Number one, I started to make more of an effort to say, please go to my website and support me, which is something I didn't do before, which I should have always been doing because I do a bunch of free content. And I should ask for support, right? So now I have financial security. So yesterday, I got to call my car service, which is nicer than Lyft or Uber. It's an actual car service. It's called Alto. They have it in Dallas, Miami, Chicago, and Los Angeles. And I can't wait till it's everywhere because it's amazing. They actually pay their people as employees. They have an app just like Lyft or Uber. Everything's recorded in the car. The cars are bougie. They're like really nice cars. And like when I went to check their pet policy, it said, this is your experience, not ours. Please bring your dog. Okay. So bougie car service, right? And it's pretty expensive. It's definitely like $20-ish more than a Lyft or an Uber usually. But that's including the gratuity for the driver, and it's just a much better experience, right? So I hire my car, go to this clinic, really nice. She goes to her appointment, has her wonderful care. I chat with all the people with their BMWs and their Mercedes-Benz and all these amazing cars. And I'm sitting there thinking, I can afford this clinic. And also, my dog looks bougie. I just spent $40 on her collar. Like, I was like, look at this bitch. I found out she's a Leo. I'm like, of course. And having this amazing experience. And then I get the bill for the vet, which was more than I expected. And I could pay it. And I got my car service. And then the craziest thing happened. It was this other driver that I had over the summer when I was with my son. And he picked me up when I was struggling financially. And I get in the car and he's like, oh my God, you got your dog. Like, things must be going really well for you. And I was like, you want to know what? They are. And can you take me actually to a freaking McDonald's? Because I haven't been to fast food in a while and I really want McDonald's. So I hired the car, go to the McDonald's. I never would do that when I had a Lyft or anything because I would be like, oh, I don't want it to like spend the money for the wait time or whatever. I spent a lot of money yesterday compared to what I would ever spend before. And it felt so good to know that my balance was going to be fine in my bank. I was going to make more money this week. I trusted everything was going to be okay. It felt so good. I felt happy. It felt good. That is how you become a magnet. You become a magnet by thinking how good it's going to feel to go to the bougie clinic that you couldn't afford and take your beautiful dog over there and get in this fancy car and wear your beautiful sunglasses and your new clothes. And not because, you know, that is important, because it's not. It's just fun. But you are able to meet your own needs, and that feels so good. That is how you become a magnet for the things you want. Think about how good that will feel. Because when I took that Alto ride back in the summer when my son was here, I was actually coming from work. I had no other choice. I was going to my studio where I record my vocals and work with my engineer. And I had to get there. So I had to take the car. I had a snug budget at the time, and I had budgeted for that work transportation. It was not necessarily, it was a privilege to ride in that service versus a Lyft or an Uber. But it was not like just, I didn't do it with a lot of mental freedom. I was like, well, I can swing this right now, but it's tight, right? I had a totally different mindset. And I felt, oh my God, it would feel so good not to feel like I can't afford this. And here I am, 3 months later, with the dog I hoped I would get then, able to afford the trip, able to afford the appointment. I almost want to cry at that. And had the same driver, that's just the universe being like, look at where you are now, okay? That was a long explanation for how we magnetize and how we manifest, but I hope it helped you. And this energy of the seahorse spirit, it's reminding you to just hover gracefully, observing the perspective of one who is not engulfed by drama, remaining at a distance from all turbulence. So this is like not my circus, not my monkeys. Is I always remember that from this card. Step back and be willing to explore things from different angles rather than a single angle. Just observe what is possible. From the perspective of the position of the neutral observer, you will discover a myriad of opportunities and a deeper understanding of what you seek and why, and you will know beauty, truth, love, and wisdom. I love that. All right, the final closing message for the reading is the Stone People card. This is knowing. This is ancient knowledge. The stones have this. They've been here, observed, and stored this knowledge for centuries, okay? And this is your medicine. The two of you will benefit from the medicine of Stone People. This is telling you that a knowing will be revealed to you. The Stone People are the record keepers of the planet and hold the knowledge you now require. Connecting with these teachers stirs ancient buried memories of honoring nature and shamanic ways. You know deep within that this is the truth of who you are. You have spent many nights staring at stars, feeling the magic of a wooded grove, and hearing the whispers of the ancestors in the breeze. Great mystery surrounds stone circles. The stones hold the secrets of all they have witnessed. There are many aspects of history that are still to be discovered. Stone People brings you back to your very roots. Slow your mind to connect with this energy, and the right stone will be put in your path. It might be a tiny pebble, a rock, or a large boulder. Hold the stone so that your past is revealed and unanswered questions can come to light. Breathe in the knowledge that Stone People wishes to impart. Be ready for that aha moment. The divinatory meaning says, be clear about your intentions, which was a huge theme from today. The being clear, because your energy goes where your energy flows where your intention goes, right? So being really clear about your intentions is important. And again, just this idea that it's in your roots that you can find the answers to these questions that are coming up on this journey. So that subconscious reprogramming, going back to your childhood, finding painful memories and reparenting the child mind that you had at the time so that you can age it and develop it. Because a lot of us are just stuck in a childlike emotional developmental stage that we got trapped in from some kind of a trauma. My sexual trauma happened before the age of 4. So emotional regulation before the age of 4, not so good, right? And I got stuck there for many years until this really deep healing I've done over this last year and a half. I'm a totally transformed person. I think about what my divine masculine sees now compared to what he saw 13 years ago, and I just can't even, it's totally different. So if I'm different, so is he. All right, my head is going. I'm getting like a pressure in my crown chakra, which usually means that was an important message to share. Go Giants 100%. I am a New Yorker, and I am all about the Giants and the Yankees forever. I hope that you got everything that you needed from this reading. I will be back tomorrow. I will probably do another Tell Me Everything spread, honestly. Those are so fun. And yesterday's was amazeballs. If you didn't see it, go watch it. It was a lot of fun. And on Sunday, again, I will be with Grace Strega. We usually start at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Coast over on TikTok. We do 30 minutes over there. It's quick and dirty. And then we go back to Instagram. We do a nice little divine check-in to the energy of the feminine masculine. And then we allow you to ask questions, and we usually pull 2 to 3 cards. It depends. If we've got a lot of people, it's usually only 2 cards. But sometimes it's a small group over there, so we'll have time to do a little bit more. The readings are deep. My collective readings usually end up resonating for everybody. So even if you don't get a chance to ask a question, 9 times out of 10, your questions get answered. I'm often told that. So Thank you again, and I will see you tomorrow. Have the best. Is it Friday? It is Friday. Have a great Friday, everyone. For me, my Friday is Tuesday, or my Saturday is Tuesday. I don't have a Sunday. I just work 6 days a week. I was a restaurant brat when I was a kid, and there was one day that the Roma was closed. It was Tuesday. That's the only day off that I have during my week still. So I definitely learned that in my childhood. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for being here, Kat, and for sharing your thoughts with me. And you can go ahead and hit me up in my email if you want to ask me questions or talk more. I try to answer those as often as I can. That's tunedintarot@gmail is one that will work, or you can do my booking contact form over on pearlsprayers.com. Take care. Have a great day.